Hey y'all, welcome to the Liberation It Lit podcast, where the power of storytelling meets the force of social change. I'm your host, Taylor Simon, and this podcast, we believe in the profound impact of stories. And I'm so excited to be here today with Coach Lester, and we're going to talk all things creativity and entrepreneurship and accountability, which I don't know. I feel like that's been the word of the year for me for like the past few years. So let's get into it. Hello, Coach Lester. How you doing today?
I'm doing phenomenal. I am doing absolutely great.
Awesome. So to kick off our conversation, can you tell us a little bit about you as a creative and why did you decide to become an accountability coach?
Okay, that's a good question. So me as a creative, I am obviously a creative individual. If you can see behind me, from since I've been a child, my family was very enthusiastic about my artistic ventures. So I can remember very early my grandma, anytime I drew a picture or anytime I said my ABCs, it was just everybody would be like, "Whoa, hey, all right now." And so even in school, like drawing, I would love to like draw. And I would always just jump to different things. I've been at one time I wanted to do like comic books. So I had started drawing. I had this guy from school taught me how to draw. I end up jumping directly into like computers and anything creative, any way I could express my creativity. I was always jumping into something. And so I got my certification in audio engineering. I was a music producer. I was producing music for a while. I tried rap. I was spoken word artist. I always used to be like, everybody be like, "Oh, you're a Renaissance man." And I just like trying different things, new ventures for me has always been like really exciting. And, most creatives, it's like that. We like to jump, try new things and think differently. We don't like to, have the little, that mundane sort of idea about life. We like to have a lot of color, right? A lot of color. We want that, that blast of color. We just love it. We love words, moving words around and rearranging them, rearranging paintings, just canvases. And so I jumped into all this stuff. But when it came time for me to turn it into income, that's when it got really serious. That's when it was like, oh, okay. I have tons of creative skills. I'm extremely creative, but I was lacking in my business and financial endeavors, very much so. I didn't understand basic fundamentals about business. And it was a really quick wake up call because I was in the employment system for about 20 something years. I got a background in IT and I was in Job Corps, and then when I got out of Job Corps, I just always like kind of kept a job. I went from Dunkin' Donuts to working in the surgery department. I used to clean rooms for after surgeries. After that, I when I left that job, I went to work at Amazon. I became a after school teacher, so I was a daycare teacher, and I ended up becoming a security officer and I did just so many things. And when I left the employment system and I was like, you know what? I feel like I can do this myself. I found out really fast it's going to take some work. And, on my journey, so I've been an entrepreneur, full-time entrepreneur for 2 years. And so what brought me to how I came to the realization that, hey, I'm going to be an accountability coach. Throughout my childhood, I was a bit of a knucklehead, but I wasn't too much of a knucklehead, right? I had a very strong community who were always trying to talk. I was always getting those talks. I don't know if you're one of those children who, you know, family members always just stop and they try to give you advice and they just tell you like, yo, don't do this, don't do that, don't end up in jail, don't do drugs, don't drink. My entire community was like that. And I feel like probably because, my mom and my dad were battling addiction throughout my childhood. So it was like I was the baby child. So everybody was like, look, everybody done lived. And it was like, we don't want that same thing for you. I think that was mostly like my grandfather, my grandmother, everybody pitched in and did their part. Like, yo, we want to get you out of that environment, and we want to make sure you have some other core values other than just moving place to place. And it's just the rough life of the product of the crack epidemic and heroin epidemic. And you want to throw a little bit of mass incarceration, right? You want to throw some of that in there. Then it's like the whole system was built for me to fail, but I didn't. And so I kept going. And when I quit my job in maybe like the first year, I started picking up books. The first thing I did was I picked up my first book that I hadn't read. I hadn't read a full book in, shoot, I can't even tell you, right? I think I got through maybe like halfway through the book, and I was like, and so I discovered audiobooks. I'm an audio person, I'm an audio engineer, and audio transferred into actually buying books. I found out that, going through books a little bit slower for me was very beneficial. And one of the books I ran across was The Oz Principle. And it was the first book that I felt challenged internally when I read it. Like, it's a book about accountability. So it's going to challenge you to think differently. And when I realized, like, oh, that's kind of like something I've been having problems with, you know, not taking the trash out, missing deadlines, not, waking up every day, getting up in the mornings. That's a tough one. That was a tough
I
one for me.
still struggle with that.
Listen, that one was tough. Okay. That one was tough, but I finally got it under control. I'm on a 21-day streak. I think I just hit my plateau. Like, I'm up every day. I'm excited about the day. And so, you know, being an accountability coach, I had to make a difficult business decision. And that's choose a focus. I opened a film production company. I was trying to I was trying to do different things, serve different clients. And at the heart of me, I've always been a helper. I've always had the rescue spirit. Like, yo, I need to help this person. People always call me if they need help. Oh, Keith, da da da. You're really good at computers. Can you come over here and figure this out for me? And so I just naturally like to helping people. But as a creative, you can kind of get enthralled in other people's sort of drama because you want to help, because you see how you can help or things like that. And I'm a solution-based thinker. And as I went on my business journey and I started developing and started connecting my identity to who I wanted to be rather than what I thought my story was, I landed on accountability. Because one of the fundamental things you have to do in business is you have to figure out who your clientele is going to be. I don't want to say clientele, but who your customer base is, right? And that's very important, because if you tie your customer base to a purpose and what challenges those communities run into, one of the biggest ones for me was business accountability. I don't know if you're anything like me. I hate wasting time.
Yes, that's why I try to like multitask, and then like
I
sometimes
I
that
do
is a waste of
not
time
like
too.
wasting time, man. My grandfather, very early, he used to tell me, if you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. If you're late, you need a little bit more help. So that's been one of the things that was kind of holding me back. I just wasn't accountable with my time. I wasn't accountable with the things that I wanted. And it starts early in the morning before everybody gets up. I mean, these are basic things that we kind of know. The early bird gets the worm, right? And it's true. The early bird really does get the worm. You get time to yourself. You get more time to your day. When you first wake up in the morning, you get that sort of that energy, get you a nice cup of coffee. You know what I'm saying? I had to come down off the dark coffee because I had the shakes. So I had to come down and drop that down to the medium coffee. But it's time. Accountability. I mean, I made a post today, 20 minutes of accountability beats 20 years of excuses. You know what I'm saying? Like, just 20 minutes. Like all it takes is for you to just get started. Like you have to gain momentum. And my company, Accountability is Freedom, the core framework that I kind of, made is freedom stands is an acronym for focus, responsibility, elevation, effort, discipline, ownership of your results, and momentum. And all of those combined, and they run off of that's how accountability runs. Once you start being accountable for the things of your life that you're supposed to, and you start focusing on those core things, you find your freedom, literally. You know what I'm saying? You get this sort of clarity that comes over you. And I was like, wow, when I hit it, like when it really hit me maybe like 3 weeks ago. I'm not gonna lie. I've been posting, New Sky Film Production, trying to get people to sign up for film production, but that's not where my heart is. I'm really good at it, but that's not where my heart is, right? My heart is in helping my people because we have an affliction over us that we have not yet solved, right? We see it every day. We see it in our neighborhoods. We see it in our families. And most important, we see it in ourselves. And if we can't if we're not a part of the problem, then we're not a part of the solution either. Right.
Oof. Yes.
And so when I discovered that on my journey and I did the work and I read the books and I studied the books, I didn't just read them, I studied them, but most important, I took action and I used AI to help me do it. Right. I'm already creative, so I don't need AI to be creative for me. I just needed to do quick tasks for me to get it out the way, save me time. Cause that's the whole thing I'm trying to do. I'm trying to save time. Cause in that time, when you get your time back, you get to do the things that you want to, like spend time with your children, go to your parents' house and visit them. Parent might be sick, parent might be old, but you working, you're doing so much stuff because you're not doing the things that you need to, especially in America, because we have the opportunity. Right? There is opportunity here, and it's opportunity. If we can tie that opportunity to our purpose, because everybody has a purpose, it just takes time to find what that purpose is. But when you're in your purpose, you have to be accountable because you can't be teaching something and you're not doing it. And you may not be accountable everywhere in your life, right? In some places that needs work, but there are places you are accountable, and that shows in your commitments and the things that you do. So, it's not about blaming or, chastising and pushing people. You ain't accountable and you know what I'm saying? It's not about that. It's about stepping into your adulthood and really starting to see and really start understanding that you're wasting time not investing money into your education. You're wasting time not investing time into your business structure, most definitely. And you're wasting time not investing it into yourself. Because leaders, if you're a leader, leaders lead by example. That's core. Every leader knows that. And in order for us to get people to follow us in the right direction, you need to be doing the right things. And it starts with you. Once you start doing the right things for yourself, then people are going to be like, guy's pretty. Go to his website. Get me an accountability session. So hopefully that answered your question. I know I'm kind of long-winded, so you
Oh,
got,
no, that
you know what I'm saying?
definitely. Yeah. And I know a lot of what you do is your whole philosophy is accountability is freedom to be able to do the things like spend time with your family and do the things you want to do. And I know a lot of creatives, they go out on their own and start their business because ultimately they want more time to dedicate to their art without necessarily being pulled into like a job. So what is your advice for, and I know creatives like me, like, I just wanna make art. I don't wanna do the business part, but the business part allows me to, pay my bills.
Mhm.
So, how do you kinda work with creatives to get over that philosophy? I know we've had plenty of conversations about it to help me just get over the, "Ew, money is icky," like, I don't wanna do that. I just wanna make art because, like, I'm just a creative artistic soul. So how do you kind of bridge that gap for creatives?
Build your business like you create art. Your business is an art. It's an art form. Business is an ancient art form. Business isn't about marketplace. It's about you. That's why any business has core values. Now, the problem that we have that we see with businesses is they don't live their core values. But as a creative, you understand that's why you don't deal with those businesses. That's why you don't, and it feels like, oh, again in a business that's just the world, the way they create. If you look at any movie in the past 100 years, all the movies, anytime somebody is at the top of the business, they're the evil one, right? And so our perception is 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 being made for us. And so I would tell any creative, you can build your business like an art, right? There are core values that you can put in place in your business. That's why having purpose first. You can't just, oh, these are our customers and I'm just going to go after these people and see if I can sell them something. That's not business. That's you trying to sell somebody something. Business is about servants. You have to want to serve your community. You have to be willing to take the time and serve your community and give them something they want. Now, the problem with that is everybody don't want help, right? They want to figure it out themselves. And that's okay. And I had to understand that as an accountability coach that everybody doesn't want my help. Everybody's not ready to be accountable. And that's okay. They probably got some really, I had some pretty heavy stuff I had to get over. You know what I'm saying? I lost a lot of time with family members, my children, my parents, and it started with them. They lost time with me. And and when it came time for me to, have kids, my first child, I lost a lot of time with my first child. And I said I wasn't gonna do that with my second one. And I've been a man of my word and I've been sticking to it. And in order to prepare for the future, because your trajectory is far more important than your current results. Right. And so I'm thinking about 10 years down the road, and my son right now, he'd be like, Daddy, you gotta focus. Right. 10 years down the road, he's gonna have these core values that I believe in. Right. And it's hard. And also, again, you're think about business like this. Business is me. I'm the business. Again, we talked about the Wizard of Oz. Everything that you need is already inside of you, right? Find that you have to live, and unfortunately we're in a system where you need finances in order to be successful. But just remember this: everybody that's rich and everybody that's successful isn't evil. There are good, rich, financially stable people. They're doing the things in their lives. You know them. You'll see them. You'll understand. Those are probably the clients that you need, who need the help, who need your gift and your purpose. Those people are out there, right? So you have to really believe in yourself and trust that, hey, because business is a part of it, finances is a part of it, right? It feels good to just, when that good check hits your account, heck, hey, I get to take care of my family. I get to take care of myself the way I see fit, my standards, rather than just those little jobs that you have to, but also responsibilities. You know what I'm saying? You can't just one of the things I'll tell people what I did, I quit my job at the top. Don't do that. That's not being accountable. That's being irresponsible. Being accountable is having the job that you have and understanding you're gonna have to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. And you're gonna have to get up early in the morning and take that time back. And you're going to have to create a plan every single day, and you're going to have to work on that plan. You're going to be tired, and you're not going to want to do it. And it's going to feel like one of the most heaviest things in the world. But that's how every habit starts. That's how all of them start. If you start a new sport, if you start a new painting, if you start a new journey, start being accountable for your time and what you want to do. And your most important, your business. That's why I work with artists. because I see it all the time. Creatives were just everywhere. Boom, 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 boom. Right. But we never want to focus on that business part. And I was like, hey, if this is a problem in my community, let me see what I could do. What solution can I come up with? I'm going to become an accountability coach. Right. And see if people really, if this is now, I have to own my results. Right. Because there's a possibility that I could be wrong. But I'm pretty sure if anybody that's watching this, they know how much time they probably wasted by not doing the things they need to for their business, for their finances, for their family. We all waste time. And that's what keeps us connected. Time is what keeps us connected. And we can't get time back. So stop wasting it, right? Business doesn't have to be what they show you it is. That's why a lot of businesses are failing. They're not rooted in any type of purpose, and authenticity is taking over the world. It already has. It's here, right? Because everybody's using AI. Trust me, I go through the videos and I watch, different coaches and people, and they're reading scripts and stuff like that. It's so distinctive now because I use AI so much. I'm always trying to get it to make sure that it doesn't sound like AI, right? When it's I'm like, hey, let's simplify this language. You're saying all this extra stuff. I don't need you to do that. I just need you to tell me, what I need to know. Once I kind of found out that was going to be my focus, and that's the first thing you're actually supposed to do as a creative business is focus. You need to pick a focus. And most of it, a lot of time, like you specifically, you have a focus. You know what I'm saying? Liberation is lit. Books. Hey, books is the focus. I'm with it. Right. Then you have to start other things that you have to start putting in place. Right. You have to turn yourself into a business, and we have to build our businesses like practitioners. You have to rapidly build expertise. These things are really important. So important that if you don't, you're just going to continue to struggle. Right. And we know the things that we're supposed to be doing. Like, that's the whole thing. Like, people always tell me, like, yo, when you going to do this and when you going to do that? And I used to be like, oh, well, I'm trying to do this first and da 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 da. But the first thing I had to do was focus. I had to choose a focus. And I cried because I understood that I'm gonna have to leave. I still do videography. I got one client that I work with, but anybody else, it's gonna have to be worth my time. And my time there's no limit. My time is priceless. So that the price tag on that gonna go it's up. Right? Because now I understand that business is about time, right? Everything runs on time. So hopefully, did I answer your question? Because I told you I'm long-winded. So
Yeah.
okay.
And I know you said about the importance of establishing expertise,
Mhm.
and another place I see that you're very accountable to is that self-taught, self-learning, and
Mhm.
doing that through books. So other than the Oz principle, what have been like some foundational books for you to kind of change your trajectory into this direction?
Man, let me shout out. Man, first off, let me shout out a principal. Let me shout them out. I can't remember his name. I'm trying to get better with authors. I'm new to books, so learning
Don't
author
worry, I'll add
is
all the
really
author
hard.
names later. Just give me the
Please.
titles and
Okay.
I'll add all of the
So
books to the show notes.
shout out to James Clear, Atomic Habits. Yo, book is phenomenal. Game changing. That is a very foundational book. Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now. That took me out of the past and stopped thinking about the past all the time and stop thinking about the future all the time, right? Your goal might be the future, but you have to create a system. You have to think about now. So basically, I'm a representative of the man in the future, the older version of myself. I heard a podcast one time and it was talking about that. So Eckhart Tolle was really good. The Power of Now, a couple books I have here, The Coaching Habit, right? I wanted to be a coach, so I got me a coach book. And it basically is like say more, say less, ask more, change the way you lead forever. And it literally, it don't miss. The audiobook wasn't all that great, but the read, phenomenal. Another book Shout out to my guy Blair Enns, and his book is the 12-Step Manifesto on How to Win Without Pitching. And that book really solidified my expertise, and it really taught me how to build like a practitioner. And so it taught me how to put in boundaries and how to stick to those boundaries. And it's very scary when you put a boundary in, and because you yourself can't cross the boundary. Because if you start letting the boundary down, then you start breaking promises to yourself. And then you're like, dang, I knew it. I should have did exactly. And so now I'm at the point where I have my success is rooted in my process. And I'm confident in that. I'm very confident in my process. And anybody I talk with, and that was the Blair Enns, that 12-Step Manifesto is the first book that I read that told me that I need to choose a focus, because I'm building a business. I'm not being creative. Being creative and building a business is two different things. And we can't, for the sake of our craft, right? We can't keep we have to make intelligent business decisions, right? And we have to kind of push our craft just off to the side a little bit. But if you bury that same creativity in how you build your business, and these books have helped me do that, understanding these core things about habits and how habits run our lives, because accountability is a habit. It's just a habit you got to build, right? You have to work at it every day. Success is the product of daily habits, not once in a lifetime transformations. And it's not going to happen overnight. But if you don't write your goals down, implementation attention, right? So that was a core one. For that, Rich Dad Poor Dad was another one. That was a very core for me. I'm not into investing yet, or real estate or anything like that. And that's sort of like a real estate book. I'm more into the nuances of the stories of what happened, because stories really kind of tell you how the person got to where they are. So I like to my favorite part is, from Rich Dad Poor Dad, is about him and his friend as they were children, and what his dad was trying to teach him. His rich dad was trying to teach him, because poor is a mind state, right? A mindset. Poor is a mindset. So, you might be broke, but poor is mindset, and you have to know difference. And so that was another one book, The 1 Minute Manager. That was a good one. The 1 Minute Manager, also The 1 Minute Salesperson. That was really good. Those are two. I'm giving y'all mad value here, baby. Yo, go read those. Any one of those books that you read Emotional Intelligence. That was another book that I got into. The 21 Infutable Laws of Leadership, right? That was really, that was really good. I'm actually still reading that one. The 5-Second Rule. You guys probably know Mel Robbins. Mel Robbins was a really good one. $100 million offers, right? $100 million offers. But I'm going to tell you which one changed everything for me. Like, after I read all those books, there was one book that I'm just like, oh yeah, I love this guy. Thank you for this book. It's called The No BS Time Management for Entrepreneurs by Dan S. Kennedy. Yo, whew, my God. Listen, but those are some of the core books, man. And I'm still just every day. I'm a reader. That's who I see. I'm a reader.
Yes.
Right?
And of course, we had to talk about books on this podcast.
Of course. So, the goal was not to read a book. The goal was to become a reader. Right?
I love that.
That's what when you start tying your identity to your actions, that's where the real change starts to happen, right? You have to know who you want to be. And if right now where you're at in your life, if that's not adding up, if things aren't adding up, you need to start looking at reading James Clear's Atomic Habits, because that's where I learned that from. He talks about identity-based habits, because every action is a vote for the type of person that you want to be. So every time you don't get up in the morning, you're voting for a certain type of person, right? I know it's just like, It's like I just live this sort of choosing this focus is so crazy because when I'm talking about it, it's just like you can tell when I hit home with somebody, they're like, that's me. But it's a good thing. Well, I mean, I'm not, I don't want to make anybody feel bad, you know what I'm saying? Because trust me, there's still things I'm working on every day. And it takes work, but because I'm focused and I know what I want, and I know that we don't have a lot of time. We don't. And if the world was to end today, it's gonna end with me smiling. Because I know I got up this morning and I took my day and I took control of my life. And it's not run by my fears, my doubts, my parents' fears, my parents' stories. It's nobody else's story but mine. And I'm gonna continue to make choices and I'm gonna own my results, whether they're good or bad. But I know I know I'm gonna have some pretty good results. Because it's just what it is. I'm blessed, man. I'm just blessed, man. God has blessed me throughout my years. I've seen many of that. My life could have went in many different directions and it didn't. And I give God credit, but I also have to give myself credit because he didn't come down, move nothing for me. Right. He was there just to make sure and just to remind me to stay on track, do good, and you'll be all right. So those were some of the books.
Oh, that was just mic drop. Like all of the little nuggets, not to put another thing in your plate, but maybe we'll get a podcast from you soon.
Yes, podcast is coming. That is for sure. That is on the list. Podcast is coming right now. I am just trying to build up my clientele, right? I have spots open. I have 25 spots and I'm a big announcement. It's my first time putting it out in the public. So, shout out to Taylor for inviting me on. I am going to Invest Fest in Atlanta this weekend. It's this big it's this big Invest Fest. I don't know if you're familiar with Earn Your Leisure. They have a podcast called Earn Your Leisure, and they talk about investing. It's going to be thousands of Black people all together and talking about investments, Bitcoin, technology, AI. I already got my schedule. I've been planning which ones I'm going to, and I'm just so excited to get into conversations with people. Also, this is a big marketing opportunity, right? Because if nobody knows who you are and what you do, you'll never be able to sell anything. Or you'll never be able to help. Because if my goal is to help my community, then that's where I need to be at. So I'm actually preparing for that. I got a lot of stuff I got to do. I didn't put all my goals out. I started, I create SMART goals. So if you have a goal, SMART goal acronym, go look it up, SMART goal, and do the work.
Speaking of people finding you, where can people keep up with you and find you and all of the amazing work that you're doing, helping us entrepreneurs?
Absolutely. So on Facebook, you can find me at Lester Boykin. We get a little view of my family and, healthy accountability reminders. On Instagram, you can find me at Accountability is Freedom, spelled out just like that. Very simple. On TikTok, you can find me at Coach Lester. And all of those websites, besides TikTok, they currently not right now, but everything else, you can find a link to my website where you could immediately book you a accountability session and start getting action today. So you stop wasting time and start doing the things that you keep talking about. And we turn that talking into action. So, yeah.
Yes. And I'm going to put all those links, including the booking link, in the show notes as well. So you could just hop right over there. And yes, this was such a great conversation and a lot of reminders for me to hold myself accountable for the things that I may not want to do, but I
And
need
I
to
got one
do.
question
Mhm.
for you.
What's the
That's
question?
every good coach asks a question, right? Asks a good question. And you don't have to answer here, but I want you to think about it. What does accountability mean to you?
Ooh, you saw my Substack post about that. But yes,
Keep that at
listeners.
front of your mind. Keep that at the front of your mind,
Mhm.
and it'll start to make sense for you.
Yes. Thank you so much again, Coach Lester.
Woo,
I'll
woo,
post
woo.
all of the books,
Thank you.
all the links.
Thank you.
Yes.
Give yourself a praise dance because you're doing an awesome job, man. Give yourself one. Hey, praise dance for Taylor. Give us that. This was awesome. This is a great opportunity. I appreciate you. Actually, the first podcast, my first ever
First of
podcast,
many.
first of many, right? So, it's going down in Black history, baby.
Well,
So,
thank you again. And thank you, listeners, for being a part of the Liberation is Lit podcast. If you have stories you want to share, want to suggest any topics, or just want to connect, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Liberation is Lit or our website, liberationislit.com. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving a review. And remember, your voice matters. And together, through the lens of stories, we're going to make a difference in the world. Until next time.
hey.
Hey.